Hi, everybody. Welcome back to RVAsec 2024, or as insiders say, RVAsec 13 at the Marriott Richmond, June 4th to 5th. Our next guest, Mr. Ari Suroosh with Optiv.com. Ari, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you. Excited to be here.
Now, you're going to be giving a lecture at RVAsec. I do so many shows every year. I don't get to listen to these lectures, and I miss out on such good stuff. You're going to be talking about Ari breaking in, which is a great topic. It's very intriguing, right? So tell us what that means, first of all, for the title. We'll get some more questions.
Well, truth be told, I do wish I would have come up with the Ari breaks down breaking in sooner. That is the title of this interview here. Really, the title that I came up with for the actual talk is basically it's coming from inside the house, a guide to breaking into buildings. So that's the talk that you'll actually see kind of on the schedule. But yeah, I'm excited because it is one of the more exciting topics in terms of the kind of the raw source material. It's literally kind of breaks down the technical aspects as well as a lot of tips and pointers for physical facility pen tests, which have come to be my specialization. I always wanted them to be, and I'm lucky enough to have gotten to a point where it did come to pass that way because of the fact that during COVID I traveled so often that I managed to get a lot of them under my belt. So it is my specialization. I'm happy to share, a lot of the different things that people would be interested in hearing about to be able to offer it themselves.
Now, I've been doing this a long time, top of the gray hair. My first computer in 1984. So I grew up with DOS and things like that. And then I went to physical security for years. And as I taught myself cybersecurity, I came to the realization they're really interchangeable. They're kind of one and the same. And early on it was, we're cyber, it's virtual, and the matrix, and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? It's still physical, pal. There's still a data center, there's still a door, there's still a lock. And what happens years later? Let's do lock picking at a cyber conference to teach people how to physically get into things and translate the muscle memory into coding and things like that. So very similar. And I don't think we put enough emphasis on the physical side of things, frankly, right? To understand. And if you translate the physical stuff into the cyber, I think you're a better defender in a way.
Absolutely. I do agree with you. And it is nice that a lot of, my kind of non-traditional background kind of lent itself to preparing me more and more for offering these kind of physical facility pen tests because, I do have a pretty heavy background for about 10 years there. After high school, I was bartending my way through bartending. And you would not have guessed that would lend itself to giving me any kind of edge in this industry. But then when it came to the physical side, sure enough, knowing how to read people and talk to them and put them at ease, it did help out quite a bit in being able to offer what my company viewed as one of the more advanced offerings, because the fact that so few people kind of can do it, mostly because it's just such a nerve-wracking, engagement. So a lot of people just kind of get the cold feet and they just do not want anything to do with it. As cool as it sounds, it's very intimidating to a lot of people, as you could understand why.
Well, am I hearing social engineering here being utilized?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's quite a bit of that. Yep. Depending on how the client kind of wants us to break it down. Of course, I do enjoy when every possibility is on the table as far as surreptitious entry and going in there at 2 a.m. and trying to pull on, rooftop access panels and that sort of thing. That's what I live for. But a lot of clients do opt for more of a, tailgating exercise, see how the protocols are being followed by their employees, see if, people are just letting whoever in just because I seem like a charming young man. And, they're pretty disappointed sometimes when they find out that, that is indeed all it takes is a coffee in one hand and a phone in the other. And I will be let in wherever I'm trying to go.
No, it's totally true. I did that when I had my consultancy, and Sony hired me, Sony Pictures. And I knew the guy that ran it from the PD. And he says, you know what, I don't think our guards are doing a good job. See if you can get in. I go get a Steven Spielberg baseball cap. I get a Pelican case. I walk up to the front gate and said, Mr. Eastwood needs this on stage immediately. Let me in. I went to every gate, 8 hours. Finally, the guy changing shift at the end says, hey, wait a minute, pal. It's like a Warner Brothers cartoon. Weren't you here at 8 o'clock this morning? And I literally got in line with Clint Eastwood and just walked around the street with him all day. Nobody knew who I was. So social engineering, understanding your environment, these are key components to understanding the cyber world. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. How many buildings have you broken into? And I don't know, broken is not the right word. How many buildings have you snuck into? Maybe that's a better way to say it.
Yeah. I guess
Yeah,
it
you
does
didn't kick the door in. You just found a vulnerability. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I would say I'm probably close to the 20 mark now. I think if I had to guess, like I said, during COVID, was one of the few people that was traveling during the thick of the action, which was, a little nerve wracking, but it went well. And I just wanted to deliver on as many of those as possible because I loved them so much. So when, that ask came down the pipeline, I jumped on every one of them. And so I was lucky, and I was able to snatch a lot more than I else would have. So yeah, probably in the 20, getting close to 20s now.
Now, of that 20, were you found out? Were you caught? Were you, hey, I know who this guy is? Or did you just leave and then they found out later?
So I am very proud to say that I've never had to reveal my LOA. I've never had to, provide the documentation that says, "Hey, I can be here." Now, have I been, stopped at the door, turned around? Sure, depending on the scenario I was going with. Have I also been approached by a security guard who knew who I was, why I was there, what I was doing? Yes, but I don't count that because they knew. So
Right.
it's if they're read in on it, then I'm not going to treat it the same way. But even then, I did not have to reveal my LOA. So that's kind of my criteria for success and kind of what I focus on for my record. I try not to focus on it too much then, because then the pressure feels like it's mounting to keep my perfect record, and I don't want it to. I want to feel like it's just fine if I get caught whenever that day comes. But I'm going to do everything I possibly can to shift the probability in my favor, not ever be caught.
Now, what can people expect from your talk? Tell me how this is going to tie them into cybersecurity and things like that.
So I'm really happy with how I put this together. I actually put this together with a close friend of mine and a fellow consultant, Savannah Lazara. She and I kind of went back and forth and tweaked a lot of this stuff, and then I've kind of added to it since then. But it's a lot less of what people might be expecting, which is a lot of war stories or anecdotes, and I might sprinkle in a couple of those. I'll feel out the vibe in the room, but for the most part, it actually is a breakdown of a lot of the technical kind of aspects of it as well, including badge cloning, some of the more recent demands and kind of changes in how that's being done now. It will have a lot of kind of really carefully thought out methodology in place to where if someone has never done one of these and their company rolls this out as an offering, they would be able to, in theory, watch my talk and have a really, really good idea of how to start the process, what to look for in terms of the paperwork that's necessary to not be arrested. And then, of course, it's step by step what to do before you get on site, once you're there. So that's kind of what I've tried to do with this one, is try to illustrate exactly how this would all go. Because I know in the beginning, when I, had one of these drop down on my plate, I was so excited, but I also had no idea how any of this would work in terms of, once I actually get there, what do I do? How do I not get caught? How do I deal with the nervousness? What am I looking for? So that's what this talk is endeavoring to do. Get someone really to the point where they feel like, wow, okay, I can picture how this is supposed to go.
Well, it builds confidence, right? I mean, if you can do that, you can kind of do anything. And as a police officer, we were actors. The good ones are actors in the field, right? So I walk into a room and everybody wants to kill each other, and you got to figure out a way to make that work. And you put on a show. You're a good cop, you're a bad cop, you're persuasive, you're forceful. It just depends on the situation. And that's adaptiveness, right? So you adapt your language, whoever you're speaking to get you past that point where you need to get through somebody or around somebody. It's really fascinating stuff. And I'm glad that we're seeing a lot more physical security traditions coming backwards, back to the future, into cybersecurity, because that's where it all started. Right. And, one day somebody says, I have a computer, I'm smarter than you, so we're calling it cybersecurity. And when I was at Fox, if you typed in the word security, you got guard companies. And now cybersecurity owns the word security. Now you have to type in cybersecurity, and because you won't find physical security, see? And the convergence idea, we're getting there, but it always was converged. And if you didn't know there was convergence 30 years ago, you didn't know what you're talking about. So I think this is really cool. I wish I could be there, but unfortunately, I'm stuck in Arizona. but maybe next year. And maybe if Jake records this, I can get a copy or something. Take a look. It really be fascinating.
We'll see if we can convince him. Yeah.
All right. Ari Bhakti Suroosh. Love that name, my friend. Optiv.com, giving a lecture on breaking down how to break in. Sounds really cool. So thanks for coming on the show, and good luck to you at RVAsec 2024.
Thank you very much.